Here we are, deep in the logic department of the Dreams workshop. I've been conducting some experiments with selectors and exclusive gates. Cuthbert can never make his mind up, so learning these should help. Oh, Cuthbert, what a mess. This is an advanced tutorial, so I hope you've already learned the basics of creating logic. Selectors and exclusive gates are used for choosing different options in logic. The simpler of the two is the selector, so we'll look at that first. In front of Connie is a rotatable bridge, alongside a button that opens the door on the next platform. These arrows are grabbable by the imp. We'll use them to control the selector. Open up the microchip next to Connie. Wow, that's a lot of gadgets. But if we take a closer look, it's actually quite simple. There's 3 grab sensors on the left. We can tell by the hand icon. The grab sensors detect when the arrow buttons are grabbed by the imp. If you hover over them, you'll be able to see which button they control. On the right, there's 4 keyframes that store the rotational position of the bridge. Try selecting them and you'll see what I mean. If you select more than one at a time, their effects will average out. You can use the circle button to deselect. To connect the 3 grab sensors to the 4 positional keyframes, we're going to use a selector. In the assembly menu, select Gadgets, then open Logic and Processing. Find the selector, then select it with X. Stamp one in the centre of the microchip canvas, between the grab sensors to the left and the position keyframes to the right. Then unequip the gadget with Circle. In the next step, we'll set up the selector. Right, let's focus on the selector. The selector uses input signals to switch between different outputs. Open its tweak menu with L1 and square. The slider sets the number of options the selector can choose from. There are 4 positions for the bridge, so increase the slider to 4. Close the tweak menu with L1 and circle. The selector is much bigger now with lots more ports. On the right edge of the selector, there's 4 output ports. Create wires on the output ports with R2 or X and connect a keyframe to each one. Make sure you keep the keyframes in order. Now we have 4 outcomes for the selector to choose from. But how do we switch between them? On the bottom left of the selector, you'll find 2 input ports that don't have a letter icon. They are Move to Next output and Move to Previous output. These inputs will make the selector switch between the connected keyframes in sequence. We just need to connect them to the grab sensors for the arrow buttons. Create a wire from the grabbed output of the grab sensor that controls the right arrow. Connect it to the selector's input port for Move to Next output. If you're getting confused by all these inputs and outputs, just remember, left side of the gadget is inputs, right side is outputs. Now do the same for the left arrow grab sensor and the Move to Previous output port. Ah, we still need to connect the up arrow's grab sensor. Why don't we use it to reset the bridge? You can directly select outputs by connecting to the corresponding input. Create a wire from the grabbed output of the up arrow grab sensor. Then connect it directly to the A input on the selector. This means that if you grab the up arrow, it will return the bridge to point at the door, regardless of its current position. Now switch over to play mode to try out the controls. Use the arrow buttons to rotate the bridge so Connie can reach the button. Don't try and rotate the bridge with Connie on it, though. She's only safe when she's on the blue circle in the middle. Once the door is open and she's back on the blue circle, grab the up arrow button to return the bridge back to its starting position. When Connie is across the bridge, return to edit mode and start the next step.